Hello and welcome. You're watching UTV Live at 6.
Good evening. These are the stories making the headlines.
A damning report into prolific online sex abuser Alexander McCartney finds police were unable to manage the risk he posed and children's safety was significantly compromised.
Our investigation found that PSNI lacked the capacity and capability to manage the risk posed by this dangerous, prolific offender, Alexander McCartney.
Protests and insults in Stormont, but Paul Given survives a no-confidence motion.
And following the death of a young man in Portadown, a coroner warns of the dangers of a deadly drug being purchased online.
Also tonight, could there be a new name on the Seamus McFerrin Cup as Newbridge book their place in the last four?
And a wet day of weather to come. I'll have all the details coming up later in the programme.
A damning report by the police ombudsman into the investigation of prolific online sex abuser Alexander McCartney found police were unable to effectively manage risk and children's safety was significantly compromised.
McCartney was given a life sentence last year for the online abuse of children and the manslaughter of a 12-year-old girl. The ombudsman found his bail conditions were ineffective and teams involved were under-resourced and under pressure. Here's our crime and security correspondent, Sharon O'Neill.
Alexander McCartney, one of the worst online predators in the world, now behind bars, no longer able to hurt children. His reign of terror began when he was just 15. McCartney posed on social media as a girl, exploring her sexuality to lure in his prey. His victims ran into their thousands, and he mercilessly drove American teenager Simran Thomas to take her own life. McCartney was on police bail at the time, and he had been on bail a number of times during this investigation. We know that while on bail, the paedophile continued to reoffend, and the scale of his abuse rapidly escalated.
Had everything been done and carried out as it should have been, children wouldn't have been abused. Simran Thomas could be alive today.
It's not possible for me to say what the outcome could have been. What it is fair to say is that had they downloaded the devices and produced forensic evidential reports in a timely manner, then a criminal justice outcome could have been achieved quicker, and perhaps other victims could have been protected.
My message is one of heartfelt sympathy for the family of Simran Thomas. We are here to try and protect community, and particularly the most vulnerable in our society. Could we have done better? Yes, we could, and we certainly have a learning to take from this case. So I welcome the Ombudsman's investigation, but again I would say that this has highlighted to us the need for proper resourcing and proper commitment in terms of the funding for the PSNI moving forward.
Confirmed what we had previously revealed, the backlog in the examination of the many devices McCartney used, which were seized during searches. Shockingly, some of these devices, remember, you're talking about a paedophile who abused and tormented children on an industrial scale, weren't fully examined for more than 2 years. The priority put on terrorism and organised crime.
The failure to recognise that this terrible crime been perpetrated against women and girls that had the most tragic outcomes, as we have discussed, should not have been a priority within the Cyber Centre. It's something that I think PSNI should learn from and should ensure that is not replicated in the future.
We are absolutely committed to protection of children right across Northern Ireland. This was quite a unique case at this time, and clearly there is learning for us as a police service.
The scale of McCartney's evil has shocked the world. These latest revelations very uncomfortable for police, but they insist they did all they could to bring this predator to justice. Sharon O'Neill, UTV Live.
As expected, the Education Minister, Paul Givan, has survived a no-confidence vote in the Assembly.
The DUP politician had faced calls for him to be removed from his ministerial position after a controversial trip to Israel, during which he promoted a visit to a school. Well, we'll speak to our political editor, Tracy McGee, in a moment. But first, Paul Riley reports on what was an angry and bad-tempered debate.
As an already heated debate was drawing to a close, Paul Givan faced heckles from the public gallery.
Paul Deirdre Hoggy to wind. The member will be removed.
The protester soon removed from Parliament buildings, but not before making her thoughts clear on the DUP Education Minister's recent controversial visit to Israel.
Of course he should resign, but he has no shame, he doesn't care.
In the chamber, it had been a very toxic and angry debate, with representatives trading accusations and insults.
If there was ever the slightest doubt before, there is no doubting now. He is a genocide denier.
Images of the minister smiling for photographs in illegally occupied East Jerusalem posted on the department's own website were no accident. They were designed to provoke and stir controversy.
You have been, in the past number of weeks, extremely and deliberately divisive, and while we discussed both last week and this week the humanitarian tragedies, you have smiled like a Cheshire cat.
The issue of Gaza particularly emotive, stirring at times very angry exchanges.
Mr. Carroll, I cannot conclude only that you're a rampant anti-Semite and you hate Jews because you will not withdraw that comment.
Order. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, is it right and fitting that the members should not repeat things that are categorically untrue? And Mr. Buckley has done it once again, that I am anti-Semitic. It's a slur, it's a lie, it's untrue, and is she withdraw it right now?
Despite lasting an hour and a half, it was clear the outcome of this debate would be a foregone conclusion because it did not have unionist support.
So, the Ulster Unionist Party will not support this motion. We see it as performative, divisive and deeply hypocritical, and does no justice to the innocent victims who have lost their lives in both Israel and Gaza.
As for the minister, in his response, he was clearly characterising it as an orange-green split.
Mr. Speaker, despite the best efforts of Mr. Carroll's coalition of hate, on this side of the House, we will not yield. The Unionist people of Northern Ireland will not yield. And we will not be silenced by those who once brought terror to these shores to drive us from office.
After all the shouting, it was only a matter of counting the votes.
80 members voted, of which 47 voted aye, 58.8%. 33 nationalists voted, of which 33 voted aye, 100%. 33 unionists voted, of which none voted aye, 0%. 14 others voted, of which 14 voted aye, 100%. The motion falls.
This might have been a lively and some could say toxic episode, but what it has shown, the inability to remove a minister from post, even if the majority of MLAs vote that they should go. That's something the SDLP attempted to address in an opposition motion this afternoon.
Earlier on, the DUP, in responding very performatively, I think, but perhaps not, perhaps they were being sincere in some of their response, they listed all of the occasions in which ministers from other parties, particularly Sinn Féin ministers, but they also mentioned members from my party and members, I think, from ministers from the Alliance Party, ways in which they had not been held to account. I assume from those remarks and from those contributions that they will support the opposition motion today.
MLAs are continuing to debate the motion this evening, but it looks unlikely to succeed, meaning it will be impossible to remove a minister from their post unless their party agrees to it. Paul Riley, UTV Live, Stormont.
And let's cross live to Stormont, where we can join our political editor, Tracy McGee. Well, Tracy, it was obviously a very angry debate, but it has changed nothing, has it?
No, I think what we saw today was another example of Stormont's dysfunctional dance. Because whatever you may think about that debate today, and goodness knows any time that Gaza is discussed, it does tend to lead to heated emotions. Setting that aside, I can think of no other parliament where representatives would actually vote to have a minister removed and yet it has absolutely no effect whatsoever. But look, I would say, although Paul Given continues in post, I think today will have had an impact, number one, on already strained relations, because that was a very bruising debate, but also too, I think it will amplify calls for reform in Stormont, to change the rules whereby a minister cannot simply stay in post when everyone wants him to go.
Now, on another issue, the Deputy First Minister faced questions over her announcement that she would not be attending the inauguration of the incoming Irish President, Catherine Connolly, tomorrow.
Yeah, Emma Little Pengelly announced on Friday evening that she would not be going. She said that she couldn't attend because she's already going to Remembrance Day events here at Stormont, but also to at Windsor Palace at the invitation of the King and Queen. Now, she was asked about it today when she faced questions in Stormont, and she made it very clear that this was a simple diary clash.
I do believe that the Irish Government, the Taoiseach and others understand completely the importance of the 11th of November. As I indicated, I recognise it's a huge personal day for the incoming President. I have sought to have a personal call with her in recognition of that very significant personal achievement and what she is about to embark on.
And Gavin Robinson also faced questions about the decision not to go. What did he have to say?
Well, I think when most people accept what Emma Little Pengelly had to say, they're having questions about why the DUP aren't sending anyone to Dublin tomorrow, especially given the fact that Michelle O'Neill yesterday laid a wreath at the Belfast Cenotaph to mark Remembrance Day. Not an easy move for the First Minister. I don't think it will play particularly well with her base, given the Soldier F verdict only a matter of weeks ago. So the question was asked of Gavin Robinson today, why is it when there's 150 DUP representatives, you've no one to send to Dublin tomorrow? He was making it very clear it isn't a snub.
Just as the Deputy First Minister was gracious enough to say that she looks forward to welcoming the newly elected President of the Republic of Ireland to Northern Ireland, as will be right, in due course, then that will extend to my colleagues as well. We don't need to make more out of this than it is. There is a clash, and that clash has been accepted by the majority of people.
Tracy McGee, thank you. And following that failed no confidence vote in the Education Minister, we'll be looking at how the row is dividing Stormont. We'll be joined by representatives from the parties. Plus, as Catherine Connolly is sworn in as Irish President, we preview her time in office. Join us for View from Stormont tonight at 10:45 with Vicky Hawthorne. The coroner has told an inquest that the emerging threat of a deadly drug purchased online cannot be overstated. Jay Woolsey from Portadown died in August of 2024 after taking nitazenes, a potent drug which is increasingly being purchased online.
At his inquest, the coroner heard that it was unlikely he even knew what he had taken. Outside court, Jay's mother Gillian spoke exclusively to our South East reporter Stuart Robson.
Every day, Gillian McCann holds memories of her son in her heart. Today, she held his photograph in her hands. Jay Woolsey from Portadown was a 33-year-old father of one, with a love for his family and music. On the surface, it might look like everything was fine in Jay's life, but beneath his talents lay serious addiction issues that ultimately led to his death.
He was a great fella, but he was a fella that struggled with mental health issues and later on addiction issues. He just couldn't seem to manage his moods, and he kind of showed that just by at times drinking too much and really self-medicating with alcohol.
Jay had told his mum that he had stopped drinking alcohol, an apparent indication that he was turning his life around. But behind closed doors, his addiction deepened, part of that down to the dark web, an online labyrinth of secrecy, leaving no trace of purchases. Nitazenes, synthetic opioids, reported to be 20 times more powerful than fentanyl, were found in Jay's system. Police say searches for drugs on the black market were found on his computer. Despite attempts to help, his mum could only do so much.
If you've got somebody with a really bad enough mental illness and addictions, a 1 hour appointment every 2 weeks, even if they are lucky to get that's not enough. I mean, Jay was on the list for the addiction clinic, and just on the week that he died, that's when he got a referral for it, and that was after 8 months.
The court was told by a forensic scientist that it's possible Jay didn't even know what he was taking. Ultimately, it was this type of drug that killed him in August last year. Police say the origins of nitazines is widely unknown and that suppliers operate almost like a wholesale operation. Campaigners say the warning signs of such drugs have been there for a long time.
We have seen over the last 2 or 3 years an increase in the number of nitazines being found in benzodiazepines, like diazepam, etc., being bought over the dark web and also on street corners, etc. And we're seeing these nitazines appear in that supply, and if people are opioid naive and they're not used to using those substances, then we can have some very serious effects from them.
Delivering her findings to the court, the coroner said that the emerging trend of nitazines cannot be overstated. She added that the additional dangers of buying drugs online is becoming more and more apparent. In conclusion, she said, Jay's death should only highlight this. Stuart Robson, UTV Live at Banbridge Court.
Some breaking news now, and emergency services are at the scene of a serious road crash outside Limavady. 2 fire engines, the police ambulance and the air ambulance are at the scene of the collision on the Bullerin Road between Garva and Limavady. A child has been taken to hospital in Belfast.
2 men have been injured in a suspected homophobic attack in Londonderry city centre. Police say the pair were making their way onto the Peace Bridge shortly before midnight on Saturday when they were assaulted. One of the men sustained a head injury and the other facial and hand injuries. Police are treating the attack as a hate crime and are appealing for witnesses.
Time now to look at the headlines making tonight's ITV News at 6:30.
And here's Gamal Fanbula.
Coming up, the BBC in crisis. The chair of the board insists there is no institutional bias, but apologises for how a documentary about Donald Trump was edited. The US president threatens legal action over the programme, which led to the dramatic resignations of the Director General and the news boss. A warning not to use unauthorised waste disposal services who then dump rubbish illegally. And we'll reveal which stars will be heading into the I'm a Celebrity jungle with Anton Deck. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
A reminder now of our podcast series, Going the Extra Mile, which highlights the many good people in our society championing good causes.
Carol Jordan sits down with Matthew Taylor to discuss the state of mental health provision in Northern Ireland.
Whenever I was a patient, I was offered therapy by nurses that I could pay for, that weren't part of the trust, that were just offered to me. I was told that I wasn't really going to kill myself because if I really wanted to, I really would have. And that stigma is still rife within the health system itself. So if nurses who are meant to look after me are telling me these things, how are you meant to, as a person who's a patient going through this, believe things are going to get better?
Responding, the Department of Health told UTV, given the lack of funding, it was focusing on a phased approach to its mental health strategy. You can watch that entire podcast on ITVX or wherever you get your podcasts. And you can find help and support links on our website. Just search UTV News.
Time now for sport.
Here's Daniel Duffy.
The atmosphere is electric. John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
Good evening. Ireland got back to winning ways with victory over Japan at the Aviva Stadium on Saturday, but despite the win, head coach Andy Farrell believes there is still room for improvement ahead of this weekend's match against Australia. Jordan Moore has this report.
After last week's disappointing loss to New Zealand, Ireland were back in Dublin and they got back to winning ways. The game looked over after 30 minutes as Ulster's Nick Timoney helped put Andy Farrell's men 17-0 up against the Japanese.
He just loves to score in green.
Felt lucky to be back in a green jersey and honoured, so I was determined to enjoy it as best I could, and I felt like I went fairly well. James Ryan wants to make sure he's getting his credit for the offload to put me through, so when someone goes forward like that, like James did, kind of gets a few metres, gets his hands free, that can always lead to something dangerous. So I was lucky to be on the end of it. Yeah.
Despite the fast start, a poor end of the first half, which included a yellow card for Ulster's Jacob Stockdale, left Ireland needing 3 late tries to put some gloss on what Farrell thought was a bland afternoon at the Aviva.
The response that we wanted from half-time onwards, I thought, was pleasing enough. I suppose overall, if you look at where we was, probably not just scoreboard-wise, but how we were playing in the first half, to come away with 41-10, you'd think you should be pleased, but pleasing aspects, but we've got to be better, obviously, with the opposition that's coming.
Next up is the small task of a visit from Australia on Saturday, before Ireland finish the series by welcoming the world's #1 ranked side, South Africa. Jordan Moore, UTV Live.
In Gaelic games, the Ulster Club Championship continued at the weekend. Kilcoo will face Erne Gaels in the last 4 after victory over Loch McCrory on Saturday night, while Newbridge set up a date with Scottstown after they defeated Madden at the Athletic Grounds yesterday.
It was a maiden Ulster Club campaign for Tyrone champions Loch McCrory. They took on seasoned campaigners Kilcoo at Healy Park on Saturday night. Early on, it didn't look like the occasion was phasing them. But Kilcoo have been a juggernaut in Ulster over the last few years, and their previous experience held them in good stead. They would lead by 2 at the break. In the second half, the Magpies kept their opponents at arm's length. They run out 5-point winners in the end to set up a last 4 clash with Erne Gaels. Meanwhile, on Sunday, Newbridge got the better of Madden at the Athletic Grounds in Armagh. In a tight opening half hour, Newbridge led by 1. In the second half, the Derry champions found another gear. They would go on to win by 6 points. They will take on Scottstown in the semi-finals in 2 weeks' time.
It was always going to be tough, Madden, they're exceptional side, pace and power, and it was dog-eat-dog at the times there, but just in the end we started to pull away, got a wee bit of 6-point comfort blanket, but no, just relieved to get through it.
And tell me, obviously there was a quick turnaround into this game. You're 2-week break now. What's the mood like in the changing room? Like, there's real momentum with you.
It's unbelievable. Like the community is so behind us. Like there's not a man, woman or dog in Newbridge that's a problem, because everybody's so happy of how the football is going, and long may it continue, hopefully.
To be honest, we're a bit wasteful in both halves there. We let a few unforced errors, something we have to work on going forward. But look, we knew it was going to be a battle. I think it's something that every championship game we played in this year, we took it to the wire nearly. So it's how we like it, and it kind of it's good for everybody, I think, to watch too. But I think when we get back in with that man this week, he'll give us a bit of a tune for the mistakes. You say we actually do live in each other's pockets. Half of us are brothers, and the other half are cousins. So look, it's unbelievable. Like, and playing with your brothers and family, it makes it far easier, I tell you, when you're going to the dogged war. Like, as a club goal, that's where we want to be playing, and I think we'll have a serious buzz going into it. Now it's just all about getting the bodies right and not really changing the script too much, just doing our homework as we did before. And look, this competition we want to be in, so we can't fear it, we just have to relish it.
In golf, Rory McIlroy finished 3rd at the Abu Dhabi Championship. He carded a final round of 62, his lowest round of the season, to finish 24 under par. 1 shot behind winner Aaron Rai, who beat Tommy Fleetwood in a playoff. Shane Lowry finished in 12th place.
One thing I said to Harry walking off the green is, well, at least we're going to make them earn it, no matter what happens. So, and obviously ended up 1 short, but great day of golf, and a great way to end of the week, and also a great way to sort of go into next week into Dubai as well. I really like that golf course. It really suits me. Probably suits me a little bit better than this course does this week, just in terms of what you need to do off the tee and into the greens. So yeah, look, this was a great confidence builder this week, coming off a couple of weeks off, and hopefully just produce more of the same next Thursday and onwards.
In ice hockey, Challenge Cup holders Belfast Giants defeated the Dundee Stars 5-3 to secure their passage to the semi-finals of the competition, with Jordan Kawaguchi grabbing a hat-trick for Adam Keefe's side. That's all your sport this evening. Bye for now.
The atmosphere is electric. John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
And so to the perennial weather. It's always changing at this time of the year. And guess what? I'm told we will definitely need our brollies over the next few days. There is a yellow weather warning for heavy rain tomorrow.
Yes, and it's certainly got cooler too. Here's Aisling with the forecast.
After a wet start, weather predictions are looking bright. UTV Weather, sponsored by the Grant Vortex Boiler.
Hello there, good evening to everyone at home and a busy 24 hours of weather ahead. Some outbreaks of rain on the way. The Met Office issued a yellow weather warning for some heavy rainfall. Just something to consider if you've got any plans throughout Tuesday, and certainly a busy rush hour commute ahead. But let's just take a look at the bigger picture and see what's going on. Low pressure sitting out in the Atlantic, and it's these weather fronts here that are associated with that weather front, and it's delivering a fair amount of rainfall throughout Tuesday. Could be a little bit disruptive as well, just something to bear in mind. But at the moment out there, it's dry, relatively calm, but by tomorrow morning, that weather front will introduce cloud and the beginning of some outbreaks of rain. A little bit chilly at first, temperatures anywhere from around 6 to 7 degrees Celsius. But a soggy, damp rush hour commute first thing in the morning. Outbreaks of rain, some of that really quite heavy. And you will notice out to the southeast, that's where we have that focus for that rainfall. Maximum temperatures, though, despite the cloud and rain, around 12 to 14 degrees Celsius. So still relatively mild despite the bad weather throughout Tuesday. And across the rest of Ireland, eastern areas seeing plenty of cloud, outbreaks of rain, but out to the west you can see where the weather is clearing away. Some sunshine here, a little slice of sunshine to finish off the afternoon, and overall everywhere it's quite mild, maximum temperatures of 14 degrees Celsius. That rainfall will clear away on Tuesday, and then there's the potential for some heavy showers around on Wednesday. Still quite mild, highs of 12 degrees Celsius. But into Thursday, Friday and Saturday, you can see those daytime temperatures just dropping back to where we would expect for the time of year as we pick up a cold easterly breeze. But there will be plenty of showers around as well.
UTV Weather, sponsored by the Grant Vortex Boiler.
Well, that is the very latest news, sport and weather this Monday evening. Paul will be back with the late bulletin at 10:30.
And don't forget at 10:45 tonight, Vicky Hawthorne will be here with this week's View from Stormont. The ITV News continues with Gamal Fanbula. From Kate and me, we're doing it all over again tomorrow, and the entire team on UTV Live. Good evening.
Bye-bye.